Hey, let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. To all my people out there, we got a special one today for you, man. The man, the myth, the legend. Man, I grew up with this kid since grade school. I watched him go through some crazy changes. I watched him fucking hustle his ass off for where he's at today. Without further ado, man, I got my brother Ja'Quay Hubbard here, my fellow teammate, man.
Appreciate y'all boys having me,
Yeah,
man.
For sure,
hell
Got
bro.
yeah.
something
We're
special going on.
Likewise, bro. We're excited to have you, man. You got a big week coming up this week. I had to get you in here and steal some of your time away, man. I know that this is a huge week for you. So if you kind of just want to, break down everything that you got going on, man, I'm happy to hear.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate y'all having me. And it's draft week, something I've anticipated for a while. Just thankful to be in a position and no matter what happens, I've been living my dream for a while now, so I don't got no regrets and I'm ready to rock out.
That's amazing to hear, bro. Honestly.
Sure.
What's
That's
one thing
awesome.
what's one thing that you've like taken from this whole process, like up to now? What's like the one thing that's just been on your mind constantly?
Live in the moment, because you can get so caught up. There's so many different factors that play into this process that, sometimes you can mistakenly, take the situation for granted, because there's so many things, you're trying to stay focused on and really lock in on. So I just really say, stay in the moment and enjoy what's happening. And yeah, just outwork yourself though, and have a good time, work hard, play harder.
Exactly. I love that. I love that.
Going to the draft is something that like a lot of kids always dream about doing, and most people never make it. So like now that you're like right at that doorstep, like does this feel like a surreal experience? Like how does that feel for you being, it's like your dream and you're it's right at the end.
Yeah, man, it definitely feels good. It's something like you mentioned I've worked for a long time, but you kind of work for the process throughout the whole career,
Yeah.
not just you arrive here, you're like, oh, it's like you kind of work and gain that confidence, that you can play at the next level and not only play, but hopefully dominate, and have a career. So it's definitely a great moment, but just kind of been stepping stones that's, got me to this point to where I was like, okay, it's really here.
For sure.
Dreams do come true as long as you
Yeah,
put in the work.
no cap, for sure.
Ja'Quay, bro, for all the people that are going to be listening out there that don't really know a little bit about your backstory, I
Mhm.
really just want to ask, like a little bit about where you come from and what you've been through and how it does feel to be at this point now. Because like I feel like genuinely you went from a situation that was like rags to riches now. And I know like I've been there with you. Like I've seen a lot of the steps along the way from going to the camps and to, being at practice in the weight room, everything, bro. You was my teammate for
Yeah.
like 3 different years in high school, bro. And it was amazing to see your growth, bro. And I'm so proud of you. So I just want the people to really be able to get an idea where you come from.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And likewise, bro, I love you and I'm proud of you. And y'all got, like I said, y'all got something good going on. So originally I'm from Shenango Park Apartments in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, right by the Furrow Hospital. And I moved there until around about the fourth grade. And, kind of living there, moving from there to Sharpeville gave me really two sense of, I would say, life and a perspective and kind of realizing, how people interact and, just how to move and what things I enjoy, and it was pretty cool. It was a good experience. I got to Sharpeville and made, friends that I love, forever, like Chayse, and many others. Really competitive in sports environment. It was a small town, but it's like, Mercer County is like, it's really competitive for sports. What I mean, Hunter can attest to that. Even though it's small, we got some feisty competitors, over there. But it's cool. Played as a freshman for football and had a massive weight transition. Chayse can tell you I lost like 100 pounds at one point. Before school, I got up to 430. And then before I left for my freshman year of college, I got down to like 313. And I did that in like 11 and a half months, so
Literally.
Chase saw all that,
Bro,
right?
I still tell people about this, bro. If it wasn't for you, bro, I wouldn't have been able to have half that work ethic in the weight room because, bro, I watched it. I watched you put in the fucking work that it took to get to that point, and it
Yeah.
wasn't given to you. It wasn't easy by any means, but you know, you saw the opportunity that was in front of you and you did what I really could respect, and that's you took advantage of it. You took your moment and went with it. And you know what I mean? You put in the work, the blood, sweat, and the tears. And I've been there and seen that with you, bro. So that's why I get so excited to see you in this position on the big stage.
Yeah.
I see your interviews, see you at the pro day. This dude was out there at the pro day with Travis Hunter, Ashton Jenny, like the best players in the world, bro. Like, and he's right there with them, like competing. You know what I mean? I just love to see it, bro. I'm so proud of you. But yeah,
Appreciate that, Brody. You know, likewise, man. But yeah, man, it's been a great journey. You know, I did that. Started off at Virginia. I played a season there, redshirted. Ended up transferring to West Virginia during the COVID year for my labrum. It's 7 months, you know, so my career kind of went different than most people. I went from redshirt and then I sat out for my shoulder the following month. So my junior year of school was technically kind of like, it was my first spring ball. It was really me getting my foot in the door and get my feet wet. So maximized my career from then as much as possible. Started around 30 something games, played in like 40 something total. So, I'm just thankful, man. Kid from Hermitage, Sharpeville, Blue Devils, you feel me, to be able to do this, I'm thankful for sure.
Yeah, dude, your journey is truly amazing. It's really inspiring. It's really cool to hear. Like, I wonder, was there like a game or a moment that you have that like stands out to you where you're like, man, I could do this forever. You know, like I am that guy. I am good enough to go to the draft. Like, do you have a game in mind where you walked on the field and you're like, I have accomplished this. I can keep going.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say there's a couple of them. It's not just one. I think it's like building that confidence over time because you can have really good plays and then, sometimes you could like, someone get you, these players, they're on full rides too. They got NFL dreams too. But I would think it would be probably a few games like consistently where I was like, I'm dominating these guys or, I'm stringing along some good games. Like, consistent, specifically one thing. I think it was maybe like a reality check going against some of the first round guys like, Will McDonald and some of those, if you look him up, Iowa State, he got drafted to the Jets first round a couple years ago. He woke me up. That was a wake up call. He was nice. I think just competing against guys like that give you the confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
100.
awesome.
for sure, bro. Iron sharpens iron type shit.
Yeah.
Man, no doubt about that. No doubt about that, man. I played against some great players, and even the ones who have gotten the best of me, maybe sometimes, few little, but it definitely happens. Like, it'll happen for sure.
And what position do you play?
I played right. I started at right tackle some games, and I started at right guard some games.
Okay. And what is it like being a guard in the locker room? What is the locker room like? Or like just like the everyday social part of just being an athlete. I didn't get a chance to be an athlete. Like I did it, as a kid and like a teenager, but like high school I was like on the music side.
Yeah, okay, that's what's up. Yeah, like the camaraderie, man, the chemistry that comes along with it. That's really what a lot of the joy comes from. A lot of the stuff that people don't see, the sacrifices together, the workouts, the training, we can't party because of this, we're still in
Right.
college or even in the high school sense, there's a lot of times where you had to sacrifice things to where you wanted to get the common goal. And those people around you understood it more than anyone. So it made it easier to kind of gravitate towards those type of people because you like, oh, you on what I'm on, let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
know?
you're
So yeah. So being a part of something like that, man, is very special. But I think you can find that anywhere, not even with sports, like, whatever someone's occupation is in your work field, you find that group of people that you really mess with, that common goal, that's really what it's all about.
100%.
sure.
You boys know anything about like coming into a group and reaching any common goals? You guys did
Yeah.
anything like that?
I think we know a thing or two.
Just
Yeah, bro.
wanted
We pretty much our fraternity was damn near the same thing as like a football team, bro.
I
That's why I
believe it.
loved it. It was literally the brotherhood. That's the only thing in college outside of being an athlete that I found that like resembled it. You know what I mean?
That's what they say fraternities are. It's a bunch of failed athletes. You know what I mean?
Pretty
We
much,
weren't
pretty
good enough to
much.
make it.
Probably would have joined one if I didn't, fellas. So
Type shit,
for
type
sure.
shit. Well, tell me a little bit about that. That's a good point to roll into. Like, tell me how your experience was as a college athlete. You know what I mean? And being a student and an athlete at the same time, having to make those sacrifices, like you said. I mean, it's having two jobs at the same time, pretty much, like two
Yeah,
full-time jobs.
two
Yeah,
full
no,
time
there's
jobs.
definitely yeah, there's definitely there are pros and cons, like to the fullest. Like, obviously on the pro side, it's like
You're the man.
though you earn it, you get the gear, you get, now with NIL, like, I'm sure we'll touch on, there's a lot of benefit. You get, if you earned it, you get a scholarship, full ride, pay for room and board, books and whatnot. Like, there's a lot of pros that come along. Food, they feed us daily. The amount of food that we get is thousands of dollars worth trips. So there's a lot of great things. Um, there's, like I said, there's their cons as well, like those sacrifices, like school, like, like doing schoolwork in the middle of training camp is one of the hardest things ever. Cause like you can't just say, forget about it. No, you won't be eligible. Like you won't be able to do what you're here to do. You won't be able to, so just kind of having that, you have a rigorous schedule. Something's always mandatory. We had this thing called Teamworks to where you kind of stayed up to date on like the task you had, and it was always full. The workouts, our coach always said if you do what's required, you're average, so on top of the workouts that are meant to break you, you're supposed to do extra along with that to really maximize your potential. And that's required of you day in and day out. It's a lot, man. It's a lot that comes with this lifestyle that people don't realize. On top of that, you gotta be a regular student. Gotta get them grades. You still want to party a little, so it's a lot, man. But it's fun. It's
Definitely a
fun.
lot.
There's pros and cons, for sure. It ain't
That's
bad.
impressive. Definitely a lot to juggle. You got to juggle still being young and then, trying to pass your classes and then still trying to achieve your athletic goals and everything. So that's really impressive. Good job to you for making it through that, dude, and getting to where you
Yeah.
got. Hats
Yeah,
off.
appreciate that. 2 degrees.
Hey,
Good
that's
shit.
even better.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Buddy's educated.
Come
Would you
on.
major in it through school?
My undergrad was in communication studies.
Okay.
Then I got sports management business in my master's. So
That's good. That goes kind of, with your whole plan and
yeah, kind of
everything.
whole stilo. Right.
Yeah.
Alright, and I love that you have like a degree and a plan to like for everything, any situation that occur, that after this weekend. So I just love that because I think a lot of athletes, they get too comfortable with, boom, I'm going to do this and that, but never have like a fallback plan on if anything were to pivot. Just not trying to put that, in the environment in the air, but
Bro, that's so real. Like, I think that's one of the worst mistakes some people make. Like, you can give it all you got to plan A, but still have plan B in your back pocket. Like,
Mhm.
that's possible because you don't want to fall flat on your face if, what you anticipated ain't there, I've seen all Americans not get a shot. Like, you gotta really like you gotta make sure you got some, and someone like me, I got a couple options, so it's
Type
like,
shit.
you know
Right.
what I mean? Like I'll never, so I'm just like I said, I'm thankful. And when you live like that, in my opinion, like, it takes a lot of pressure off you because no matter what, you're gonna be straight. Change is inevitable. It might suck a little, but you'll be all right.
Exactly.
For sure.
Type shit. So, what's your dream job outside of being in the NFL right now?
I have a couple. Coach, I could definitely see myself coaching.
Type shit. No.
Yeah. You got a good head on your shoulders. You'd make a good coach.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. I would definitely love. It's just a lot of sacrifices that come with coach and being a good one. Like I pick some of the coaches' brains. Like you got to have a family that's gonna hold you down because like it's a lot. You there more than the players sometimes. It's just not as much physical. It ain't no physical.
Mhm.
It ain't. But that or like an athletic director. That's something. That's kind of something I've always thought about. Kind of the administration side of it. Some around sports. I just think I'm gonna stay around sports.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like the whole Michael Vick, Deion Sanders, just seeing all like a lot of the black superstars that we saw growing up in the NFL or, just missed like Deion Sanders going into like the head coaching roles and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. Like I just want to hear your take on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great for the sport, man. I think it's transparent for the game. I think it adds growth. Like, You know, it's something that a lot of people couldn't see even maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's good for recruiting. You know, it adds competition. Some schools that maybe weren't in the mix, like Norfolk,
Exactly.
like a Colorado, are now getting this attention. Like we would have never mentioned them 10 years ago, 5 years
Yeah.
ago. We'd have never been talking about Norfolk, you know, and Colorado. So it's, you know, or even Jackson.
Mhm.
I didn't even, no disrespect to them and what they got going on, but I didn't even know who that was before Dion and them got there. So
Yeah.
I just think a lot of good things. Just someone else, the Ravens safety, Ed Reed. I think he's out here trying to coach too. So I think it's great.
Isn't Deshaun
State, you know, I got a friend getting recruited by, you know, Deshaun Jackson and Mike.
fire? Yeah.
Ain't that
That's
crazy? Like
wild.
that's crazy. Yeah, I think it's great.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, bro. Bro, did you peep that Don Ponder is the third string quarterback for Colorado?
Yeah, I have him on Instagram. I've been keeping up with Dom.
Bro, a kid that I played midget football with, he moved to Florida when he was in like middle school. Like he didn't stay in PA long,
Yeah.
but he was always sweet. Like he was like that in midgets. And then he went to Florida because his dad was like a good golfer. They moved for golf. And
Is that
then
what it was for?
yeah, like they went down there for just there was a good switch for everything. And then he started getting recruited like highly out of high school. He went to like some small school. I think then he transferred again. And then all of a sudden, like you said, I seen it on Instagram. This dude, bro, he just ended up being at Colorado with Sanders. And I seen a picture of him with Ed Reed. That's what reminded me of it. You brought up Ed Reed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, damn, bro, that's crazy. Like small world. You know what I mean?
World, man.
Yeah,
Crazy.
no,
Shout
I
out
ain't
to
gonna
him
lie.
though.
If he would have stayed, that would have been nice if he'd have stayed at the Ville.
I know, bro. We needed all those kids that left. We needed them to play. Like all the people that we lost along the way. Shout your grade especially, bro. You know how many people in your grade should have been on our team that just didn't play that year?
I know,
Like
don't get me started.
we could have made a run, but like they folded.
Then Ty left. Did Ty leave your
Ty
year?
left. Ty left sophomore year, bruh.
See, I was just talking to him yesterday about that.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday too about it. That's funny.
So what is
Yeah,
that
bro.
like? So like I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is like a way bigger like city than coming from Charlottesville or Mercer. So do you think it's like a different like competitiveness when you're coming from a bigger city than a small city? Like do you feel like it's harder to get, you know, your known or your name out there? Or do you feel like with the talent, like it'll get seen?
Yeah, that's a good question, bro. I think both have their ups and downs. Like with the smaller area, for sure, it's harder to get exposure, you know, because of the size of maybe, you know, some people say, oh, that's double A or, oh, you know, yeah, the graduating class, this, that, which is unfair, you know, it's like, you know, it's still some ballers. But then with the bigger city, there's a lot of eyes and whatnot, but there's a lot of eyes. So you
That's
gotta, you know, so I think they're both, they both have the you know the thing. One thing I will say though is like that's why you go to those camps. It all comes to a common ground. You know, that's kind of where I kind of um was able to get some momentum was leaving Sharpsville and going to these camps.
what you
It's like, okay, you're from Charlotte, you're from Detroit, I'm from Sharpsville. Let's see what up, you
yeah.
know? And that's where you get your confidence. Like that's where you get your confidence. Like, you
Right.
know, I went from playing Sharon to I'm going against these cats from California and Miami and I'm holding my ground. It give you confidence going back to
Yeah.
me. So like, yeah, no, that's great.
So how
So
does
like
that like work?
yeah.
Did you like put together your own films and send them out there, or did they like reach out to you? You know, like how does that whole recruiting process like when you first went to Virginia? Them or did they pick you? Or...
Yeah, so I made my highlight tape on Huddle, like we all are, you know, like from freshman year. And then it was really the camps, bro. Like the camps what put me on because then they hear about you, then they kind of watch your film, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the camps were big for me. The camps
Okay.
were, yeah. If it wasn't for those, I'm sure like I would have got exposure, but maybe not as much.
So once they like watch your film, they reach out to you and you set up like a meeting with like their coaches and stuff, and you go out to their facilities. And then is there like a training period there where they like evaluate you, or how do
Yeah,
you end up like signing to go there?
yeah, so nowadays it's more common that they work out high school recruits and stuff, because I've seen it with my own two eyes. But it wasn't that big of a thing when I was there. But we would go like they would maybe DM you on Twitter like, hey, shoot me your number. Twitter was big. Twitter was like the recruiting like I communicate with like probably 80% of the coaches through Twitter, you know. Then they'll hit you, they'll be like, you know, call me this and that, and then you'll exchange numbers. And then they'll kind of like set up a visit. They'll probably have like the player personnel director or whatnot, or their travel people hit you up. You set up the visit, and then, you know, you kind of go from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. And then I chose Virginia over Mississippi State and Syracuse. But I was fortunate enough to have 25 offers. So I had some picking.
And then
Chase, you was at my commitment party.
Yes, sir, bro. I remember we had a time that night. I know that's right. But bro, one thing about it, I don't think that people realize though, he had 25 offers and Ja'Quay, quote me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody else from our school had like a full ride football scholarship like in over 10 years at least. Maybe more.
Yeah, maybe even
Because like we had some dogs coming out of there for a few years
that's
that
the
weren't getting
thing.
no attention and no love.
Bro, I tell people that all the time. There's some dogs
Like, bro, when my brother's grade was there, when they was about to go to states, they were one game away from states. The whole team was sweet. The linemen were all good. The receivers and running backs were all good. Like none of them even got a shot to anything but D2 or
I
D3. Like
know.
nobody. The huddle
I don't
generation
think they
started
was
to
going to
change it.
camps enough.
Yeah, that's facts.
I
Because
never
you couldn't
hear.
just rely on huddle.
Yeah, you can't. Come on, bro. It's thousands. It's millions of huddles. That's what I used to think about. It's millions of huddles. It's thousands of kids that's big.
Mhm.
You gotta go. You know, like
Put yourself out there.
if you want it,
Especially
you
with
gotta
social
really
media nowadays.
yeah, you gotta set yourself apart.
right. If you want it, you gotta really check. You gotta really go get it.
So
Yeah.
how does that work? Like when you transferred, then too. Like, did you know you wanted to transfer, it, or did the school reach out to you with a better offer, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come here?" Or how did that work?
Kind of both. First, you kind of get that interest, and then you put your name out there, and then you kind of see like you know who has interest in you as well. And
Hmm.
then I think you kind of line up. You see who has what to offer. You might take a visit or two, and then you kind of base your decision off of that. Their roster. You know how quick you could probably pop on the scene if all goes right. You know, there's so much to consider. You know,
Yeah.
academics, majors, travel from home.
And how does that like affect your current program that you're in? Like, so you pop your name out there, and you're like, you know what, maybe I want to stay. Like, does your coach know? Does your teammates know that you're like looking to transfer, or is it kind of like you're doing it on the side, and then you're like, okay, actually, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's a good question, man. It's really it really depends on how you do it, I believe. Like I think like if you do it in a respectful manner, like you talk to the coach, you kind of tell him your concerns or your reasons why y'all get on the even ground or at least close to, you know, and then you hit the portal.
Okay.
Maybe if all doesn't go well or whatnot, you know, you could come back. But a lot of times, you know, people hop in the portal, the relationship obviously is tarnished a little. So they just hop in there without saying nothing and then make that message on Instagram or whatever. You know, when you do it like that, coach isn't really that, probably won't come back and let you, you know, because
Okay.
you kind of said F the program, you know. So
Mm.
I guess it depends.
Type shit. So, what do you think about the current state of college football, man? Tell me about, not only is the recruiting different now, but tell me about the NIL and tell me a little bit about your experience with that recently.
Yeah, I feel like the current state of college football right now is change, and because there isn't a current state. I think we're just in the midst of change right now, and
Yeah.
which makes a lot of people uncomfortable, you know, but it is what it is. It was inevitable. We was complaining about when the players wasn't getting paid. Now people complaining about they getting paid too much, you know. You know, I just think with NIL it's great. You know, I definitely benefited from it a little bit and I'm so fortunate. I think it was long overdue. There was billions of dollars that has been made that no athlete will still never have their name on, you know, even the lawsuits that they're trying to get back, you know, there's still so much money involved. We were kind of talking a little bit before we kind of got on, like the amount of money that's involved, I think it's kind of hard to process sometimes for people. So, you know, I think the middle school percentage of money that athletes are making is like, it's chump change, you know, but there needs to be a cap. Just like, you know, with some of the players, you know, there needs to be, because you got to feed everybody and no one's bigger than the program. So, and some of
Yeah.
these cats is 18.
Yeah. Did I be going buck wild with that money at 18?
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You 18, 19, if you're
Bro,
early enrollee,
Ryan Williams was 17.
I was just about to say, you come in early, you nice, you young, you 17 with 100 something
Bro.
racks after tax. You getting off.
Let me see how much Ryan Williams made off NIL.
But I agree with what you were saying too. Like, there's a lot of money that circulates through these programs and that these schools are getting, and it's like it's not fair for the athletes and people putting their body on the line to not see anything. You know, it's kind of a scam in a way. Like they're
Man,
profiting off you and off your hard work, but you're not getting any of that. You know, unless you make that next step. So it's like, you know, before you had to take that gamble, you had to put your body on the line and hope that you can make that next step. At least now, you know, luckily you are. But if like for those people who maybe didn't, they still got to gain something along that way, you know, and I think that's
yeah.
fair.
No, for sure. It's like, yeah, man, it's crazy because like it just comes with this shit, you know. It's like it just comes with this shit. There's so much money involved, and I think it's gonna keep growing. I think it's gonna keep growing, and I think we'll get a hold of it. Right now, it's just like I said, change got a lot of people uncomfortable, so it'll
Yeah.
get right.
Funny, people always got something to complain about. You know, you change one thing, someone's gonna bitch. Then you change it back, someone else is gonna bitch. You can't make
Yeah.
everybody happy.
Someone gonna be mad. It's just like politics. Someone gonna be mad. Just do the damn thing. I don't care. Someone gonna be mad, bro.
Can you imagine being 17 making $2.7 million?
I believe it.
He's
That's the
making
thing, though. I believe
$2.7
it too.
million right now.
I wonder if that goes to your head. You know, you have that much money,
That shit.
17. It might honestly hurt you because you're like, fuck it, I'm the best. And then you might not work as hard because you don't think you have to keep, you know,
Yeah.
like what hard work out overplays talent. So you might be that talented and somebody else might be able to sneak up there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, that's a
Nah,
crazy
that's
amount of
real.
money.
That's valid.
That's real, bro. I could see that. I could definitely see that happening. I think a lot of people's how they was raised is gonna be exposed. You know, like
Mhm.
it's going because like when you get money, you show who you really are. You know, so
That's
we'll see.
that's facts.
How did it feel to be in a video game this year, bro? That's fucking crazy.
Tough. I just
Like,
hate that they don't really let linemen like get jiggy on the game.
yeah,
They just got us up there. They just got us up there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
nah, it was cool though. I'm thankful. It
yeah.
was
That's
cool.
just dope to even be a part, bro.
Yeah,
From
that's what I'm
From
saying.
Shenango Park, bro, to a fucking
Yeah.
video game.
That's what I'm saying. I gotta get one. I gotta get one and not open it. I'm gonna never open it. Maybe give it to my grandkids or some shit.
So
Facts.
what was that process like? Did you have to get like scanned and all this? Where
Nah, did we? I'm trying to think. They just, I think they just went off of our profile picture, like, you know what I mean? And just kind of
Yeah.
went from
They
there.
used AI. They used ChatGPT to do that
Yeah.
shit.
Did you see any royalties or anything from that? Like your name's in the game and everything. So like, did you get any sort of
Yeah, they
compensation?
gave us a little check. They gave us a little check.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
nice.
I saw they upped it this year for the new video game. This because that was the first year
Yeah.
they came out with it in like 15 years, 10 years, no, 10 years.
You know what's crazy too? Like big, like, and I'm not saying this to, like, when I mention this, I never, like, I'm not, ungrateful or whatnot, but sometimes you just gotta look at the facts, like the proofs in the pudding. Like, they could pay way more.
Right. That game, bro. That game sold some copies.
Man, hundreds of millions.
yeah.
Hundreds of millions. So, but it's cool though. It's good. It's good though. The fact they even giving any money is what's up.
It's cool. And just to be in a fucking video game is kind of
I
sweet,
know,
dude.
right?
Just
Yeah.
log on, like, that's me.
Right. Nah, and it'll never go away. You know, like that's what's cool. Like it'll be timeless. That's what I
Yeah,
fuck with.
for sure.
Ja'Quay, I remember a couple years ago when you were still. It was like right when you hit the portal and we're going to West Virginia. I seen you at the Bill Club, and I remember we were working out, and I was asking you all these questions like, "Who's the best quarterback you've played against so far? Who's the best running back, receiver?" And I remember the answers still. You said at that time it was Sam Howell at North Carolina for quarterback, and bro, I still think he's sweet. He played against us in the versus the Commanders, bro, and he was torching us every time, even though we
It was
won.
sweet, bro.
And now he's like the third string on the Seahawks. Like he's not even getting a shot right now.
I know.
But then I remember the running back was Travis Etienne. He ended up being a dog.
Yeah.
Like these are all dudes you can have on your fantasy team. And
Hey,
then
I think I capped though. I think I gotta change that answer a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think I gotta change that answer
tip for who?
for quarterback.
It was Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah. I was tripping.
Yeah.
No, but
Bro,
Sam was really dicing us though. Like that's why it was like Sam was nice. Like we won, but Sam was nice.
yeah.
he was really in the pocket, comfortable. Like there's
No,
people
he's
at
nice.
he got his eyes down the field. He following through. He was running. That boy was nice. I ain't gonna lie.
And then the best take you had definitely was you said the best receiver you got to see play was T. Higgins, and now he's just a
Easily,
fucking dog.
bro, he was
and
dunking on us. Dunking
so my question is now though, those three players being said, they all turned out to be stars, but that was 2 years ago. So in that meantime, this year at West Virginia, who do you think would be those new three that you played against?
Yeah, and that was like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say in the meantime, it's a couple. Defense is Will McDonald, bull from Iowa State that went to the Jets first round. He was cold. He was just elusive. He was long. He was strong. He was quick. He was twitchy. He was like that. Offensive player, that's a good one. Who's the best offensive player?
Who's the best quarterback first?
Best quarterback?
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel did us bad.
Yeah.
Oregon.
He did us bad. I ain't gonna lie. Dylan Gabriel, he tore us up. That's when he was on Oklahoma.
Shit, yeah, he was going crazy.
I played against B. John Robinson.
Shit.
B. John Robinson was nice. Oh man. Penn State wide receiver. His name, I'm drawing a blank. Last year though, or 2 years ago now, he was a dog. That tight end he got that they got now that's about to go first, second
Howard
round.
Warren, yeah, he's tough. Dog. Bro, they had him lining up at quarterback and running back. That's how you know he's hard.
Was he like 44 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I played against Abdul Carter.
Oh shit, he was nice.
Yeah, he was nice.
That's their DN, ain't it?
Yeah, he's like DN linebacker. He's like a hybrid. He can move all
Yeah.
over. And then last one,
I think the Panthers wanted him.
yeah. I played against Cansey from Pitt. He plays on the Buccaneers now, first round.
Yeah. I saw him play this year. He's tough.
Yeah, it's a couple, bro. I ain't gonna lie. The list and up for sure.
Your shit, bro. It's about to get real. Bro, I be trying to tell people, I'm like, bro, even if you took like a Nemo route, like and went just practice squad and got to be on a crazy team like that, even you never know what team you end up on a practice squad, bro. You could be on the Eagles. You feel me? You could go be with the world champions next week.
Yeah.
Like that's what's crazy. Just to make a couple 100,000 practicing and shit, bro. That shit's fire.
Man, and what an opportunity to still, move up.
Move up and progress and get better because you get to the right coaches at that next level, bro. They pull some shit out of you.
100,000%.
I feel like a lot of people end up working, or maybe not a lot, but there's a good amount of people who get promoted from the practice squad and come up at least for a couple games. Dude, I feel like that's got to be an insane, first snap on an NFL field under the big lights. Like that's got to be just insane.
And you earned it extra.
Yeah,
Like
whether
James
you were
Harrison,
drafted
bro.
or worked it up.
James Harrison.
Yeah,
went to be one of the best linebackers ever.
Undrafted from Kent.
Kent, baby.
I'm not gonna lie. If you go to the Eagles with Stoutland, though, Jeff Stoutland's gonna get you right, bro.
Yeah.
I saw what he did to Andre. Andre Dillard was a bust. He made him all right, and he got a starting job somewhere else. Then he brought in Mekhi Becton last year, bro, and turned him into an All-Pro player.
Mekhi Beck really did his thing last year.
That was the change of scenery for him. You never know what that shit could bring.
You never know, bro. Gotta stay down till you come up.
Facts.
Who's your favorite football team?
I don't got one.
Good move.
Yeah, that's smart.
I like them all.
That boy's media training.
I like all 32, baby.
Yeah, I'm a Panthers fan, so
Okay.
I'm a Steelers guy.
Yeah, I grew up watching Steelers when I was younger.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we were from,
Yeah, right. I mean, everyone grew up watching somebody. You had to love the game somehow.
Yep. Except for Chayse was weird and he was an Eagles fan to be different.
Look at where it brought me. Success. 2 Super Bowls in the last 6 years.
Eagles smooth.
I'll give it to you.
Y'all did get a ring, man.
You know what I'm saying? That team, bro, we nice for real.
Oh, y'all defense, I'm not gonna lie. That was the wildest defensive line performance I've ever seen in my life. It
Bro.
was the greatest defensive line performance in history, in my opinion.
0 blitzes.
And 4-man rush.
0 blitzes, and Mahomes was getting tore up.
Caused havoc all game.
I was on the flight that day.
Now going to college and stuff, I watched the game different. Before you just kind of watch, the whole thing. Excuse me. Now I watch the box and the Eagles is tearing them up, bro.
Bro, Jalen Carter is different.
Yeah.
Different. Like, I be seeing him lift grown men up with one arm, bro.
Man, he's leverage his bend strength. He's a dog.
When I saw how Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson were talking about him when he first got to training camp, I was like, yeah, it's a wrap for him.
I mean, he
He's
did it
buzzed.
at Georgia against the best. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Bro, then you got Nolan Smith getting his shit going. He was killing it in the Super Bowl.
He was
Bro,
getting
I want us to get Malachi Starks in the draft, bro. I want him to come to the team. Get another Bulldog. That'd be fire. He's a dog.
Y'all do like Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Just
Right.
take another one. Like, yeah, bro, that'd be crazy. You know, you talk about some of the connections you made and the talent you've been around. You went to 2 good programs. You know, everything's been playing in your favor. So just break it down to me and get on another path of what's some of the trials and tribulations you went through along this way that people really, you know, don't know that that's what really made the difference.
Man, we could have a whole episode on that. Be real though, like that's like, that's like you mentioned, that's really what people don't see. That's kind of what makes you throughout the process. That allows you to really realize if you love it or not, or if you can still give it forth effort, it allows you to find yourself, how you deal with situations. There's a lot of things, injuries part of the game, you work so hard and then you working hard, essentially, maybe too hard or, maybe not preparing just slight enough could hinder your progress and put you out. As I mentioned, y'all, I didn't have my first spring ball till I was a junior. If you'd have told me that when I was in high school, I would have cried, like that's like, I really didn't pop on the scene until 3 years in. And the whole time I'm not just sitting there, I'm busting my tail to be the best I could be. So there's a lot comes in. I had family issues. My mother had a very bad stroke. As soon as I arrived at West Virginia, she's doing better now, but there's a lot you're dealing with, my mother raising family members and, it's a whole lot that comes along with it. When you're trying to pursue a dream, position battles, you're dealing with relationships, there's so much that goes into, you chasing your dream. At the end of the day, people just care about with the product on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like kind of gotta find a way to cope with it as quickly and efficiently as possible. But then, when it's time to perform, it's the reason why you're here. This is what's paying your bills. This is how you just ate that Chipotle. So you better lock in. You know what I mean? So it's a lot, you learn so many life lessons and things about yourself through sports. And I'm thankful for the good and bad because it really taught me who I am, 100%. I
100%.
appreciate that question. Yeah, it can get real while you're chasing your dream. That's why I look at people like LeBron and I'm just like so overwhelmed. Like he's so great because it's like to do what he's doing, you would think his outside life was just probably smooth.
Yeah.
You would think his outside life, you probably like, oh, it's Bron. Brown's probably dealing with more than we could even comprehend. But when the lights
Exactly.
come on, that man is performing. He's done it for 25 years, So, yeah, a lot come with it, man, but it'll make you or break you. That's a real thing. It'll
Yeah.
really, you'll be tested. You'll see if you really love it. You'll really see if you're really supposed to be here or not. A lot of people say they want to go D1 and stuff, but you'll see when you feel like you outworking someone, it's a lot. It's a lot that comes with it.
For
Yeah.
sure. I think that's a great thing to talk about too, because like I think sometimes when you're watching these people on TV and you're watching their progress through college, in a way you kind of forget that they have trials and tribulations the same as anybody else. The same as me waking up and going to work, but you kind of put them on this pedestal because you're like these guys are they're insane, they're amazing at what they do, and I think it's easy for like the general public to forget they still have an at-home life and they still have problems they have to face every day, and they're just a regular human, who's really good at something. It's something amazing. But I think it's cool to talk about that because at the end of the day, you've definitely had an amazing path, and you've had your ups and your downs, and you've made your way through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure, bro. Like it's so crazy because I relate now on a different level, and like I think I became a little soft because like I be sticking up for athletes. Wait, like when people talk crazy, like I get very irritated when I hear anyone say like referring to someone in the NFL or something like say, "Oh, he's trash," or he's this. I'm like, you don't realize he's really like that. If you seeing him, I don't care if he went 1 for 12. He's one of the best, like, and you know what I mean, like
in the
Mhm.
world.
in
Yeah,
the
just to get
world,
there.
in the world of his profession, and like, yeah, just to get there, just to have an opportunity, or someone has a bad game. It's like, bro, it's like I get that, like, with sports betting now,
Yeah.
sports fans are very, very, let's say, in tune with what's going on now, way more than ever. A lot of people get the maxing on people, like,
Aggressive.
parlay.
Yeah.
I didn't see it personally.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, you just realize, like, I ain't going out there to mess up, champ. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I look at it a little different now sometimes.
yeah,
That's fair.
definitely. Especially with like fantasy, dude, you get people you have 2 bad games, like, oh man, this player sucks. And then it's like
Yeah,
in reality, the dude's starting on an NFL team and he's probably,
Yeah.
one of 100
right.
good enough to do that. Like,
Now, granted, you making all that money and stuff, you gotta take that criticism.
yeah,
Like, you gotta be able to,
Yeah.
like, that's what come with this. Like,
Yes.
if you're gonna be on that pedestal, that's what comes with this. You don't hear us raving about some. I don't even want to disrespect nobody, but you don't hear us talking about some games that's that no one's ever obviously watched because we don't watch it.
for sure.
So it come with the life.
Yeah.
Braun, yeah, a lot of people talk about Braun. Well, he's a billionaire, so he's okay.
Yeah, he's doing good.
You know what I mean? He'll be all right.
Big brawn guy all of a sudden.
No, I mean I don't get into that now.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of good brawn talk. I never heard this from you.
Braun, first of all, Braun is him, been him. As a man, as a leader in the black community, like Braun is him, and he is the second greatest basketball player of all time. But his longevity wise and his all around basketball skill is inevitable. But I just look at, you play the game to win. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
What about the first 8 years of his career though, when he wasn't doing shit?
That's fair. He was going against Larry Bird and Magic and the Pistons with no Batman or Robin, which clearly LeBron has had on all of his championship ventures.
Okay. I'm just saying though, Michael Jordan never had to play Steph Curry.
That's true. That's true. They also can't hand check LeBron, so it's a little different.
It's a
It's
different it's a
so
different game.
we
It's
could do
apples to
this all
oranges.
day, bro. Like,
Yeah. Every
It's
generation
the
can have their
era.
GOAT.
yeah. Yeah, right. No, but LeBron, and I hate it because LeBron is so nice. Why do I have to do that? I
Yeah.
Right.
just, I just feel like when you got the most points, you're gonna have the most points, the most minutes, the most assists, the most rebounds, the most steals, the most blocks. You should have the most championships.
I think it's more the brand. Like for me, that's how I compare like who's the better. Like Jordan's brand will be it's just so like big
Yeah,
right now. So I feel like once James leave the game for a little bit and
right.
see
I
how
can see
big his
that.
Yeah.
brand goes, then
Mhm.
we can really start comparing. But
Well, that's the
until
thing though.
then,
But like when you look at it, think about it. 50 years from now, you look at the stats, you're gonna be like, LeBron is 3 times as much better than Jordan.
yeah,
It's not. It's gonna be like you're gonna be like, why are we even talking about this? But
Yeah.
then so it depends. Life's all about perspective, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
all
Right.
about perspective. I've been saying that for so long. Yeah.
What
So
about go ahead, go to Liza.
So I think my question would be so with like the skill set, like besides the skill set, I like to break it down like, with your like social media training, you being in the spotlight, with the working out, with the connections, like what percentage of all those parts, play the biggest role, like especially just the skill set itself. Because some people can be like very talented in their skill set, but just maybe not be like much of a people person, so they might not build those certain connections. So just like explaining that part of just being like a athlete, professional athlete.
Yeah, a lot. I would say a lot comes with it. I would say it all kind of comes together. I think you just along the journey meeting so many people and hands that you shake and you kind of come accustomed on how to handle yourself in certain situations, what to say, what not to say, what body language I guess you could use. Or social media. There was people always telling me since I was in middle school, high school, like watch what you post. Them coaches gonna always. So it's like kind of, I guess, the circle you grew up with, your base, your family, like, kind of what kind of how you grew up, I would say,
Hmm.
has a big part in that, on like how you move and like how you kind of handle all those different things. And I've met a lot of people throughout, we had this thing called the Chambers program, and you had to kind of like write this essay to get in, and you had to like get some references or whatnot. And I got in, and it was great. I went to Europe several times. Chase, you probably saw on my social media.
Mhm.
I got to do, a whole bunch of things. So it all plays together, man. Football has opened so many doors, man. It still is.
That's amazing, man. That's
For
really
real.
amazing.
To piggyback off that, and you've been through the whole experience, it's all coming full circle. You're able to look down at the youth, and this podcast is really aimed towards the youth, and we really want to be able to give our advice of the things that we've been through just in our young lives, and be able to pass it down so that they could learn it now and be as soon as possible and be set up better for the future. So
Mhm.
my question would be, what's a couple key points of advice that you might have not touched on that you would like to pass down to those kids that might be getting recruited right now, highly favored kids, and maybe even sometimes to the kids that aren't getting the love that they deserve, but just in general, the mindset that you would like to pass down to these kids going through recruitment and making sure that they're keeping the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. So it's a couple things, like just off the top of my head. Like I would say one is really, and this is gonna sound, repetitive or redundant or whatnot, but like look in the mirror and really see if you're really chasing your dream as much as you want it. Like, are you putting in the effort as much as you dreaming about it?
Yeah.
It's like some of me, like if I'm really chasing something and I really got my mind towards something, like it's on my mind. Like, I feel like, if I haven't trained for 2, 3 days, I start to feeling some type of way about myself.
Mhm.
Like this is everything I wanted. How I'm cheating myself. Like at the end of the day, if your buddy ain't waking up that day, just make sure you waking up. Like, if you can't make it to the gym that day, do some push-ups and sit-ups. Just make sure you working at it as much as you dreaming about it. Like,
Like
you do
that.
that, I feel like if you do that, you'll be okay with and this is great for young kids to hear, I would say, is like, and it's the harsh reality, but if you can grasp it at a young age, it's great for you. And it's that hard work does not guarantee you success. If it did, there'd be way more people out here doing everything they put their mind to, right? But
Mhm.
without hard work, you have zero
Hmm.
chance at all. So the best thing for you can do is set forth of what you want to accomplish, work as hard as you can, and guess what? Say the worst happens, say you might not accomplish it, but in the meantime, you're gonna learn about yourself. You're gonna learn about sacrifice. You're gonna learn that nothing comes easy. There's so many lessons that come out of it. And I would say, lastly, surround yourself with others who have the common mindset as you. Maybe you want to be a carpenter and he wants to do accounting, and that's cool. But just make sure that he's actually working to obtain his goal to be the best carpenter possible. Make sure that maybe he's watching YouTube videos, he's working on his mistakes, he's correcting, you know, just a certain, you can have fun, you can lay back, don't ask Chase. I'm the last person that say you can't have fun. But at the same time, you got to be real with yourself. Are you chasing it as much as you dreaming about it? For real.
The dream's free, the hustle sold separately though.
I love that saying, dude. I've never heard anybody say that, but that's
Right.
a really good one.
Yeah.
That's a hot keeper.
And I just came up with that off the dome too. That's a
And
freestyle. Man, cause it's like, yeah, like it's like some people say this is all I ever wanted. Like, but is you working like that? Like,
Yeah.
you should. You'll know if you're working too. You don't know if you're working hard enough. If you gotta
Mm.
be real with yourself.
yeah, yeah, you can't lie to yourself. If you want it, you gotta strive for it.
And look at the other people who are doing it. Find the best carpenter. Find the best insurance seller. Why are they so great? You don't have to beat them. You don't have to copy them. But everyone takes little things from everyone's
Yeah.
game, and you could add it to your arsenal. Of course,
Exactly.
that's fine. You know, you still be yourself, but take a little bit, you know, learn. Just, you know, I think that's a big thing too.
For sure.
All right, well, for a couple minutes, we've been getting real inspirational, real business focused. Like you just said, you're not always like this. You're still
Nah,
the fucking biggest personality in the room, regardless of which room it is. So I want to get into a little bit of just maybe some funny memories, some shit. I don't know. We got a lot of history. I know that college gave you a lot of good memories. Just let's take these last couple minutes to just let it loose a little bit and just, share some of them good times, man, the goodies.
yeah, the ones I can say. Well, let's just say college was great. It really helps you find yourself, man, being away from home. And I had fun, bro. Like I had fun. Don't get it twisted. All that inspirational and hard work and all that waking up, that is true, but I had fun. Like you gotta be able to do both, bro. You're gonna
Yeah.
go crazy. You gotta
Sure.
reward yourself. You should, like sometimes I work extra hard. Weekend come, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this and that because I didn't put the work in. Yeah, I feel you feel so much better when you're doing it. I'm
Yeah,
doing it. I could really cut loose because I have no worries. I put the work.
exactly.
I'm
You
just
put the work in.
I'm enjoying the day
100%.
to day. I worry about this and that tomorrow. So I would say, yeah, I didn't had fun. I kind of found me a girlfriend. She the love of my life, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
And it's been a long journey. You gotta know what you want, and now I know. So yeah, but it's been
Okay.
good, man. It's been a good journey. I ain't gonna lie. Your boy done lived it up. I done went to Europe twice. It's a whole nother episode. I'm messing with y'all. You said what
What
though?
country did you go to?
Man, I went all over. I went to Germany, I went to Paris, I went to London, I went to Barcelona, Ibiza, I went
Europe?
to Belgium, I went all over, bro.
I know you were in Paris too, right?
Yeah, I went to Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Paris and I went to Florence and Rome, which was fun.
Okay, yeah, yeah. The food, man, the food is so good over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it was to die for. I want to go to Greece really bad. That's next on the
My
docket.
homeboys went there. They said it's like a movie.
I need to
Hey,
go to Greece, bro.
That's what I
I'm
was.
really into history, dude. So I loved Italy, like walking and seeing all those old buildings and statues. I was melting.
How was that food over there?
Oh, it was insane. It was so much better.
Man, you drink wine?
Oh yeah.
So they had some wine over there, huh?
Oh yeah, good wine. They got good cigarettes too. I know you probably don't smoke cigarettes, but
Bro, it's so common over there, isn't it though?
yeah, that's.
I
I
They're
mean, I
so
don't really
yeah.
healthy
smoke
though.
cigarettes here, but there, dude, I'm waking up, hitting a
Bro,
cigarette,
there are
fitting
people
in.
riding bikes. It's people, the healthiest people I see. Everyone rides a bike. They'll be riding a bike at 7 in the morning looking healthy as hell with a bogey.
Yep.
They're just hitting the bogey. It's just so calm. It's just so pretty,
Yeah.
dude. Like they're just over there hitting the.
I was laughing when I got off, like in the U.S. airports, like saw no smoking, no smoking. It's over the loudspeakers. I landed in Paris at like 4 a.m. First sign I see is a coffee and a cigarette sign. I was like, well, I'm in
Yeah.
Europe.
No, real shit. Yeah, it's so different over there, bro. I loved Europe.
Yeah.
It changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah. I went to Malta, Europe, for my company. Our headquarters is there, so they flew us out for 2 weeks. I wish I got to see other countries while I was over there. My plan is to go back to Europe and to hit Japan at some point this year, but
Yeah.
I'm so jealous that I haven't been to Greece. But I love Europe, and Malta was just a whole culture shock in itself.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Chase, you got your passport?
I do. I've only been to Canada though.
Yeah, go ahead and use that passport.
I'm ready to book some trips. I'm going with Elijah to Japan, so we about
Yeah,
to get it in a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
Europe's on the list too, bro. There's just so many places in Europe to visit. It's like going to the States and trying to pick where you want to go from Europe. You know what I mean? You go
and
to
you could take
Florida,
a train
Cali.
through the whole continent. That's the thing, though. Like,
yeah.
you could take a train through the. They got beer, they got food. Listen, it's a vibe, yo. I'd be loving it on a train. The train's so majestic. I'm just looking out the window, like it feel like Harry Potter's.
It's so peaceful. Yeah, you don't got to
Yeah,
worry about drive.
it's like it just looks so. It's like a foreign country, bro. Like, or I guess it is.
Wait, speaking of that, because I know that I saw somebody just signed with one of those teams over there. Have you ever considered going to play the professional football leagues over there?
Not
Or is
really.
the market just not big enough, really?
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm glad you asked me that. Like, I've always kind of like I love the game, but like I don't know. It would either be NFL or I would just start an occupation. Like
Right,
that ain't I'm not knocking no one who does that.
right.
You can make a pretty decent living playing in some of the leagues, but nah, I just don't think that's me. So
Fair.
Fair.
That's
yeah,
all. Yeah.
you put a lot, you put your body through a lot, man. That's why I be seeing, you put your body through a lot.
What about the UFO? That league's kind of
XFL. I think it's
up and
called
coming.
XFL now.
No, it's
Yeah,
UFO.
Oh, it's you?
yeah. I think the same applies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm sure.
I like that though because that tells me that you do got the plans. It's life is bigger than football, and we always knew that from the
Yeah.
jump. We always know that you got to have a life after football, no matter how far you make it.
Man, you have,
Hmm.
bro. Listen, it's inevitable. Like no one play. Look at Tom Brady. If he don't tell you it don't last forever, then I don't know what. Like
Yeah.
like, and you put your body through a lot, especially like kind of what I said, like always doing extra. And like if you're gonna really do it, you got to do it. You
Hmm.
can't go half stepping.
I love to see that, like how you got a good plan and a good head on your shoulders too. Because I think one of the saddest things is like when you see like an NFL star leave the league and then in 10 years they're broke because like they didn't think about life after football or like what to do with their money or how to budget that or save it, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, this guy was a millionaire and now who knows where he's at. And I think that's always a sad thing to see because like you put your body through a lot and you work your ass off and then you retire and like you want to carry that forward. You want to be comfortable and happy.
Yeah, no, for real, bro. Like you put your body through the ringer, and I think obviously I love the game, and I'm anticipating that I keep going and have a good career. But just kind of like you gotta know yourself. That's another thing. Like with this athlete life, it could be hard to kind of maybe know who you are outside of that. Because you put your whole life, you're chasing this goal that you're a football player, and that's it. But I think I got a good understanding, you know what I mean? So it
Fuck
ain't
yeah.
bad.
As Chase would say, type shit.
Type shit. It's always every podcast has that one thing that I say, and then I just say it the whole podcast. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get rid of that. It's like I get in a loop, and it's just in there. But it is type shit, though. It really is. I mean,
Yeah,
I
type
I
shit.
don't know what else to say to some of that shit. But I mean, we've had some good conversations, some good discussions. I mean, we've gotten pretty much through all the things that I wanted to hit on and ask you. Um, I really thank you for coming out, and getting on here and allowing us to give you that platform. You know, I'm really excited to see where this journey takes you in the next, literally this week, like in the next couple of days. It's crazy that it's
Yeah,
already here.
I know.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy to be, your friend and in your corner and be able to say that I knew you before you blew up, because I know that no matter what you do, you're gonna do big things, whether it's on the field, whether it's off the field. I know that you got a good head on your shoulders, and regardless, we're gonna be rich forever because you got a rich mind. So
No cap, man.
Rich
Well, keep
mind and
up.
rich spirit.
facts.
I love talking with you, man. It was great, and
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck, man. My thoughts and prayers go out to you for this week, man. Good luck. It was awesome.
Appreciate y'all boys having me, man. It was a great time, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Appreciate y'all.